What's up, guys? It's Austin here, or TAYBE. And today's story time, there's actually going to be two story times in this. It's going to be like two of my scariest experiences. So, the first story time takes place about, we'll say, I don't remember exactly, but it took place at least over a year ago. And so, I'm at, we were at school, and I was in like honors classes because at the time I was actually doing good, which is very rare for me because I don't do good in class. So we were in honors classes, and we went on this field trip, and I think we went to Six Flags. I think we went to Six Flags over Texas or something like that. And so we get to this Six Flags, and we're on this ride, and we just keep on going on it. And the way that it is it's an upside down ride, and it does like loops and stuff. So they have the harnesses, and they go over your shoulders, to lock you in, so you don't fly out of the ride and you don't land on your neck and possibly die. And so, we do it the first time, we do it the second time. We on the third time, we do it. On the fourth time, this is when it starts getting like bad. So we sit down in the cart. I'm sitting in the first seat, and they come by, like the ride operators come by, and make sure that all of our stuff's locked in, and of course, like, they think that it's locked in, and so I hold on to it because, like, I was just waiting on it to start, and I was just holding on to it because I was bored, because they took a minute for it to start, because it was like a long cart too. And so I was just holding on to it, just waiting. And so the ride starts going, and we get about halfway up this hill. And how it is it goes straight all the way up, and it goes straight all the way down. And then it goes into a big-ass loop. So what happened is we get up halfway up the hill, and I realize that my harness is not actually how it's supposed to be. It's not on. It's like coming off. And so I tell my friend, I'm like, yo, my harness isn't on. And of course, I yell, I'm like, stop the ride. And then my friend looks at me, and he's like, what the hell? And I was like, yo, my harness isn't on, right? And he's like, yo, stop the fucking ride. So we get about to the top of it, and they don't hear me. And then my friend's like, stop the goddamn ride. His harness isn't on. So they stop the ride. One of the managers comes on the little stairs to come up and, see what's going on. And they're like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, hey, my harness isn't on. Like, it's not secure. And they were like, did you undo it? And I was like, no. And because you can't really undo it. So, me being the kid that I am, I was like, hey, my harness isn't on. Is there any way you could fix that, or maybe take us off the ride? So, of course, they take us off the ride, and me being the anxious kid I am, I hate fucking heights. So, we're going down this little maintenance ladder that they have that goes all the way up the mountain, or the little hill. And so, yeah, that's the story time about, that's the first story time about, how how basically my harness came off. So, this is second story time. So, story time takes place in about, this story time takes place about a year ago, about a week ago. No, I'm just kidding. So, this story time takes place about a year ago, right? So, me and my friend were sitting in his basement, because I was going to stay there the night, because it was his birthday. And, my friend, he's the kind of kid that, he's kind of sketchy, but I didn't really think nothing of it. So I go over to his house, and I'm like, what's up, dude? And I say hi to his parents, and we go sit in the basement, and we're playing Xbox, playing Skate 3, like always. Because, that's probably the only fucking game I play is Skate 3. And so, yeah, so my friend goes and gets food, or that's what I thought he got, and he comes down, and he he's like, hey, do you want dessert? Because we had ate dinner like an hour ago. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, we got like brownies, we got cupcakes. I'm like, hey, can you get me a brownie? And I didn't really think nothing of it. So he gets me a brownie that I thought was just a normal brownie, you know. And I was so wrong. So I eat this brownie and I didn't think anything of it. And 20 minutes go later and he's like, are you feeling it yet? And I was like, feeling what? And he was like, you know that brownie I gave you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, that's an edible. And I was like, are you kidding me, dude? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, so you are kidding? And he was like, no. And I was like, so you're not kidding? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, so you gave me an edible, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. Because I didn't think we were going to do anything the next day, so I didn't care. And so we sit down in his basement, you know, starting to fucking trip. And the next day, like, we didn't sleep because we didn't think we had to do anything the next day. So his mom opens the door to the basement, comes down in the basement, and she's like, hey, we're going to church. And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, oh, fuck, I'm fucked. And I was like, hey, I'm not really feeling that good. And she's like, hey, I mean, you can still go with us, right? And in my head, I wanted to say no so bad, but they were very religious parents, and I didn't want to do anything bad. So it's like, yeah, I'll still go. So we go, and sure enough, like the one day something bad happens, the fucking news station is there, and they're just sitting there, like, taking people's, because this was a new church, they're just taking people's, like, statements and stuff about, like, if the church is good or not. And of course, the one fucking time I'm actually on something I shouldn't be on, which I really didn't want to be on it, of course, this fucking lady walks up to me, and she's like, and what do you think about the church? And of course, I'm just standing there, just fucking eyes red, like fucking red as fucking hell. And all I said was good, just good. And of course, she's like, okay, because she's like, damn, this kid doesn't seem like he's good right now. And of course, as soon as, you know, they walk away, his mom's like, dude, like, Austin, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I'm just tired. Like, we stayed up all night. And she's like, oh, okay. So we sit through half the service, and I was like starting to trip fucking dick on this, like, in this church. And I was like, fuck, no, I'm not doing it. So I got up and I walked out. I fucking booked it. I walked out of that church so fucking fast. And I guess the teachers, I guess my friend's parents probably thought I had to go to the bathroom or something. But no, I just booked it. Like, as soon as I walked out of them doors, I dashed down. And I walked all the way down to this fucking donut place. And as soon as I walked in this donut place, like, I saw, like, I was gonna get a donut, right? And so I just sit down and I'm eating this donut. Of course, this cop comes up to me and he's like, hey, are you doing something you shouldn't be doing? And I was like, well, hello, sir. No, I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to be doing. And he's like, you really? Because your eyes are fucking red. And I was like, no, I'm just tired. I stayed up all night. And of course he believed me, and I was so weird. That's so weird. Like, how did he believe me? So he's like, of course he's like, where are you coming from? I was like, I'm coming from the church from my friend's parents. And he's like, and I was like, can you give me a ride back? And he's like, yeah. So, you know, I get in the back of this cop car, and of course, while we're driving down, he's like, we should do a prank on your friend's parents. And I was like, okay. And he was like, we should make it seem like you did something bad, and you just put your hands behind your back and make it look like you did something bad. So I was like, all right. So I just sit in this cop car, and, you know, I have my hands behind my back, but there's no handcuffs. And so we get to the church, and my friend's parents and my friend is standing out there, and of course the cop just opens the door and lets me out. And he's like, hey, we cut your friend's friend. Or we cut your, yeah, we caught your son's friend, doing something. And of course they were like, Austin, like, what did you do? And I was like, I'm sorry, man. And of course I was like, hold on, let me get something. And I took my hands up from behind my back and I just waved them in the air. And then he's like, this is a prank, guys. And of course I'm just laughing my ass off, just fucking dying. And of course, as soon as that, and of course, like, he was like, my friend's dad was like, Austin, like, you actually scared us. And I was like, man, I'm sorry. And they were like, it's fine, just don't do that anymore. And I was like, alright. And they were like, you still want to go to this donut store? And I was like, actually, that's where he picked me up. I had left because I wasn't feeling good, and I went to the donut shop. And he was like, why would you do that? And I was like, I don't know. I was tired. And of course my friend chimed in, being the good friend that he is, and he was like, yeah, like, we stayed up all night. He was probably tired, and he probably had anxiety about it. And of course, they leave me alone. And yeah, so that's, I guess, my little 2-part story time, because I didn't post anything yesterday, and I kind of wanted to make up for it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. See you guys all later. Peace.